Welcome to Modern Sages. Today, we wanted to share something that is so near and dear to both of our hearts, something that Candace has been working on. She is an amazing shaman, a healer, and she's even an author. So go ahead and talk about that, won't you?
Yes. So to start, I used to be a school teacher many years ago, and these books were inspired actually by my students. I had some students that were going through some real hardships, but I was limited in the ways that I could support them because there's district regulations as far as how you can support your students. You can't bring any form of spirituality or faith or any of those things into the classroom. So it was the way that I would approach to help my students. I had to do it a certain way that was professional to what I was doing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the school year, I'd always think about them and things that I wish that I could have said to them. And so what that did, and in order for me to release that tension from myself, I was like, okay, well, if I could say anything in the world to these students, what would I say? And if I could create an imaginary teacher that had access to a magical world, which I do have access to a magical world, which is amazing. And I love it. But create a character that could say or do anything to help her students, what would it look like? And so in order to get that energy out, I started writing out these stories. And the first one I wrote was addressing the issues of loss. In 2 years, I had 3 students that lost a parent.
Wow.
In 2 years, at 5 years old.
Yeah, that's a difficult transition for anybody, let alone a 5-year-old.
And very unusual. Yeah. Not an accident.
Yeah.
But unusual. So I created my first story, Whispers of a Dragonfly. And I introduced it to my mother, and my mother is a gifted poet. She's an amazing writer, and she writes poetry, and she's written poetry about life. She's written poetry for weddings and funerals. She's always writing amazing pieces. And so I gave her my story, and I said, Mom, is there a way that we could turn this into rhyme? And I said, Mama, could you sprinkle your fairy dust, is what I call it. Her fairy dust is her rhymes. And so she took the story and she put it into rhyme, and it turned out so beautiful.
Wow.
And then I started looking for illustrators, and that's a long story. It was a magical way that I found my illustrator, but Michaela Johnson is our illustrator. My mom is Lily, like the flower. But anyway, came across this most amazing artist, and she literally would take these magical ideas and just easily just put them out into form. And so it was just pure magic working with her. Not only is she such a gentle spirit, but she just got us.
Yeah.
She got what we were trying to create. So we started writing these. And so the first one was Whispers of a Dragonfly. And this addresses loss, but in a way that's more gentle, and it's focused between the genres of children between 5 and 10, 5 and 11, 5 and 10, I would say. And but also provides healing tools for them to be able to go through that experience. The second one that we wrote was Mary Sue Finds Her Wings. And this was inspired by my neighbor, Julie Hernando. And she is the founder of Lighthouse Sanctuary. And we used to take walks, and she would tell me about how she wanted to create a safe house for these children who are survivors of human trafficking and sexual abuse. And not only was I just completely inspired by her heart, her warrioress energy, she is hands down one of the most amazing people I've ever known.
Yes, she is amazing.
Yeah. And so I wanted to be able to support her. And I thought, are there a lot of children's books that support children going through trauma like this or survivors of sexual abuse? And she's like, no, there really isn't. And so anyway, that's what inspired the second one, which is Mary Sue Finds Her Wings. And so this book addresses children who have experienced trauma and how Miss Ackermane helps them through different tools of how to heal that and how to move on and overcome. And again, working with children who are younger.
Yeah.
But how we wrote our books is it kind of, even though it's targeting children, there are messages for everybody. There's kind of like when you go see animated movies where there's kind of jokes for the adults and there's messages for the adults, just like there is for the kids.
Yeah.
We try to do that with these books. So that way everybody walks away with something.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And the third one was A Journey Home. And this was inspired by a couple of things. One, I had 2 students they were siblings who lost their home to a fire. And so they ended up moving in with family and they ended up not having a place to live. Well, on Christmas Day in high school, my junior year in high school, we had a fire.
Wow.
And we ended up in a hotel room on Christmas Day. And there were certain things that my mom said that day that really, really took a hold of me, and different lessons I learned about what is really important in life.
Right.
And so I took those 2 circumstances, our own personal experience and also these kids in mind, and created a book called A Journey Home. And this is confronting that particular issue, like loss, of not having a home, whether it be a natural disaster, a fire, or whatnot, but what home truly is.
Wow.
And so that's how this book was inspired. But we're doing a fundraiser for Christmas, and I hope to continue this. But I want to sell these books and have 100% of all the proceeds go to Lighthouse Sanctuary.
Wow.
And I've discussed it with my mother, and she's fully on board. We are just so passionate. We want to be able to make a difference. And as you know, things cost money.
Yes.
And I want Lighthouse Sanctuary to continue to flourish. I want them to continue to grow. They've already helped 40 plus girls, children ranging from age 2 to 18. And they're getting ready to build another safe house. Yay.
Yay, that's amazing.
So that's where these proceeds are going to go. They're going to go to Lighthouse Sanctuary. So the link on our website, we're going to have this on our website, our Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, all of that. That will directly link them to Amazon. And so all they have to do is just purchase it through Amazon and have it delivered to them. But just know that you're making a difference.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful stocking stuffer.
I was going to say, what a beautiful gift to give. They're such wholesome, such beautiful books. On top of the messages are incredible, and it's going towards an amazing cause. And there's nothing that's like just to an amazing cause. And I'm so grateful for that.
I'm hoping, Jen, that in our lifetime, we will see the eradication of this.
Yeah.
That there will be no more slavery. A lot of people are unaware that this is happening.
Yeah.
And in it for little girls and little boys. And so I'm hoping, and I know this is a dark subject that a lot of us don't want to look at, but at the same time, we are responsible for our children.
Absolutely.
We're responsible for the future generations. And there's so much hope. And there's so much healing that can happen. They don't need to be victims of their story or their experience. They can move on and they can embrace their gifts and live a full life.
Yeah. And
a full life.
I think that's so powerful is, it's time to give back in that way of taking care of those who cannot do it themselves. And Lighthouse Sanctuary is such a beautiful organization. We just, everything about it is so good. So we'll also link, do they have like a website and everything?
They have a website.
So we'll also link the website to Lighthouse Sanctuary there as well, if you want to just donate money in that space or get to feel more about that. But these books are so amazing, and what an amazing opportunity to give back to those who need it, especially those little kids who have gone through so much, but are warriors and are changing through healing as well.
Yes, they are.